Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Bigfoot Weekly. Today is Monday, June 24th, 2013. I'm Vic, your host. There's at least one new item, I think that is pretty brand new. Some of the other items are a little more obscure. Two of those are some new expeditionary groups that have started their own research, their own field research. I'd like to feature them. I notice they've been getting very few hits, and so just want to maybe help get them just a little exposure maybe. And then a couple other items, but I want to say thanks to those of you who have subscribed and those of you who comment. Specifically, a fellow with a handle Fancy Book Learning last week educated me and a couple others on embalming, refrigeration or plastination as preservation methods for a body. We were talking about how Rick Dyer, if he were to preserve a body with no refrigeration or embalming, would be able to do that, and he mentioned plastination, which I'd never heard of. I went out and looked it up, and it's a real interesting process. I also appreciate the exchange with some of the regulars who comment and subscribe every week. You know who you are. I appreciate that. So let's just go ahead and get started. I've got a few items to cover, and then in the end, just a few more comments about this past weekend and just kind of the current state of where the Rick Dyer body thing is, and kind of what's been going on his blog. We'll just do that at the end. Anyway, here we go. Alright, here we start out. I thought this was really interesting. This is a video on the history of Bigfoot. The cool thing is that it's the history of Bigfoot in under 3 minutes. So if you're not interested in reading a whole lot or getting a lot of detail around how Bigfoot has been tracked historically, this is a really good little summary. It only runs 2 minutes 39 seconds, and I learned a couple things as well looking at this. So anyway, check that out. I'll include the link to that. The other item I found is this offer from Spike TV for not $1 million, but $10 million to prove Bigfoot exists. And it sounds as though it's all going to be made, or this is actually going to be a show, it sounds like, where they've invited scientists, zoologists, seasoned trackers, and actual Bigfoot hunters who all believe in the infamous creature's existence. It says the teams will be faced with a daunting task of proving to a group of experts that Bigfoot, the hairy ape-like Sasquatch, exists with irrefutable evidence, and the winner will win the unprecedented $10 million bounty. So the curious thing for me, anyway, about this is who's being invited to participate in this, and that I think is probably going to be really interesting to see who is, and then again who is not invited. So check that out. Read about that. I look forward to this. Whenever it shows up on Spike TV, you can bet that I'll be glued to this and I'll be watching it. So I'll leave the link to that, or you can just go to Spike TV and look it up. Next item here. This is new, fairly new anyway. It's called Bigfoot Roommate. They're really short, 45-minute, 1-minute sort of comedy, little comedy or snippets of comedy that include Bigfoot, and they're short, but some of them are kind of funny, and then others are just kind of silly and maybe not so funny. But it's cool. It's no one's done this before, so it's pretty cool. Go check it out. I'll post a link to this as well. It's called Bigfoot Roommate. And it looks like, well, this is probably their newest one, only has 37 hits. So not everybody's looking at this stuff. But might brighten your day. Maybe not take the Bigfoot thing so seriously at times like we all tend to do. This is a trailer of Willow Creek. This is actually Bobcat Goldthwait's movie And the thing I couldn't find out and have been unable to find out is when this thing is going to be released and where. Because it looks like it's really well done, at least from what I could tell from this trailer, and then also from another trailer that I saw, and also from an interview with Bobcat. If you remember, Bobcat was a stand-up comedian, and I think his popularity peaked late 80s, early 90s, I want to say. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, this looks really interesting. I'm keeping my eye out for the release of this movie because it just looks like it's fairly well done. So next item, this is one of the I don't know how long these guys have been at their Bigfoot investigations. They're called Treepeekers, and only every now and then do they use Bigfoot in the title of their video, so they don't get very many hits. Like this one has 384 hits. It was published August 20th of last year. But they have a good number of subscribers, over 700, and they have 305 videos. So obviously they've been at this for a while, but for whatever reason they're not getting a lot of visibility. But they do have some cool videos. They do catch some stuff, but they're very tenacious. I mean, these guys they go at it. They they go into some deep areas and other things like that, and they film every bit of it, and it's pretty interesting. So look for the link for that. All right, this next item. Also, this actually, Robert Scott is the name on the channel. I guess this Robert Scott guy is also an investigator. They have been doing some of their investigations, most during the day, kind of looking for prints and other evidence of Bigfoot activity. And I think they've done one expedition at night. But unfortunately, they didn't have night vision cameras and things like that, so it's not very well shot. And in the beginning, when they started filming their expeditions, it looked like they were using like an iPod camera or something, because everything was filmed in that vertical sort of, that vertical platform. It just didn't. Not the best, but anyway, their stuff is improving, and give them a view. Again, these guys are fairly new. Looks like he's got 34 views. This thing was published just days ago, or a couple weeks ago on the 11th. Some stuff is interesting, so I'll attach the link to that as well. Now, this next item here is brand new, fairly brand new. This scientist in Idaho, he's a researcher, maybe he is a scientist. Let me read this again. I think he is a scientist in Idaho. Ran across this skull, and it's a fossilized skull, and it was laying face down, and the shape of it looked kind of odd, so he looked into it, dug it up, and boom, voila, there's this 70-pound skull that is probably a Bigfoot skull. And let me see if I can give you there's a good shot of the scale of this thing. It's pretty damn big. 70 pounds, I mean, this thing is enormous. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully, since this thing was found in Idaho, they'll contact Dr. Meldrum and have him take a look and see if he can authenticate maybe what this thing is, or what it, maybe even how long ago this thing was roaming the earth. So that was of interest. I'll post a link to that, and I'm sure there'll be more about that, and probably even there might even already be a YouTube video out there for that. Anyway, that's kind of all I've got this week. I realize it's probably a little light on interest, but just dig around a little bit and you'll find some stuff within these links that I'm going to attach. All right, well, with regard to what's going on in the Dyer camp the last couple of weeks, the only thing I can say is that the speculation continues, no real answers. The blog is filled with nothing but hate and accusations from those on the outside, and then nothing but excuses being drummed up from those on the inside, or those from Rick Dyer's camp. Pete spends most of her time just doing nothing but defending Rick Dyer, and just kind of standing guard at the blog for any filth that comes across there. And that's just not really a productive way to run a blog. I think if it's gotten to that point, it'd probably be best to shut it down. But that's just me. In any case, what I'm seeing there is I'm seeing an organization that appears to be in disarray and somewhat out of control. Who leaves a blog up for just and puts up with that much hate just for the purpose of blog hits? If you have a Bigfoot body, I mean, which is the next biggest discovery in humanity to this day, then why are you concerned about a high number of blog hits? It just not a lot of what comes out of that camp adds up, and I think it's high time to end this thing. I think it's time to put it to bed. Either come clean or produce the body with scientific evidence and everything else that needs to happen. Invite the media, publish it, do it, collect your million, do whatever you need to do. But all of these excuses, and none of which, in my opinion anyway, they're not satisfactory reasons or excuses for why this just continues and continues. And the rumors abound still about members who are not happy. The membership prices are dipping, and so it's just you just kind of sort of smell the end. You know what I mean? And I think it's time for it to end. I think it needs to end, and soon, because it's just ugly, and I'm quickly losing interest, and so are a lot of other people. So anyway, that's my opinion, and everybody's entitled to theirs, and I totally respect your opinion. And feel free to write on my or to comment. The only thing I ask is to keep it clean, keep it respectful, and I hope you enjoyed this week's edition. And I'm looking forward to talking again next week. Thanks very much.